Well, I had a little bit of an issue with the stream going to YouTube, but it finally got it over there. The X stream is running. So, how is everyone doing this great Sunday? I'm sure we'll have a few viewers coming on in, but LBC, how are you doing this week? Uh, I'm doing all right. It was a pretty decent week. I've been home for now my second week in a row, and I get to sit at my computer and do a bunch of trading. So that's a whole lot of fun. And every once in a while, I'll just like take a nap in the middle of the day. And it's like, oh my goodness, this is so awesome. Oh yeah. We're like, I made my money in like the first 15 minutes of the trading session. You're like, what do I do with the rest of the day? So sometimes yeah, so sometimes it's well, we're gonna take a nap today, but yeah. uh, well, this week's episode will be kind of staying on the same theme that we've been on, and a lot of that has been a little bit of corruption. This one is not technically corruption, but corruption adjacent. You know, we've talked about the actual financial institutions that kind of stray government agencies and politicians from acting how they should in the people's best interest. Now we're going to kind of talk about more on the institutional level how not directly corrupted these things are, but how instead of their actual mission statement, they kind of drift away from it. Instead of serving the people, they serve their own interests so that they can continue to exist and continue to get paid. And that'll set us up for next week's episode on maybe how we fix institutional drift. You know, there's tons of ways that we could potentially do that. Since we're both crypto bros, I know that one of those big ways could be something like a DAO or having things on a blockchain. But there's also some harmful effects to that. So we'll leave that one for episode 9, and we'll make this one a two-parter. But I know you've talked a little bit about it, especially in certain areas of not just necessarily the government, but also financial institutions, how things have kind of drifted away from the original mission that America was founded on. So I know you probably got a big one on the top of your mind that you could come up with that we could start this one on out with. Institutional drift. So, the first one I was honestly thinking of was the financial system that our government has created, and how originally there was a mandate with the Federal Reserve, and it's kind of drifted away from that original mission, where we're now in a different form of economic policy than we've ever been before in our history. And they were like, okay, well, you have one purpose, and that's to manage inflation and to manage the job numbers and create an enclosed loop for us to continue have money to spend. And we've kind of drifted a little bit away from that, you know. Everyone complains about the Federal Reserve, and I, I think on episode 9 we'll talk a little bit about a little bit about how institutional drift and fixing it, where a lot of these we want to fix it without breaking it and completely demolishing the system. But I feel like a few of these, like the Federal Reserve, it'd be okay to just absolutely demolish over time. Well, with that one, that'd probably be like a 5 year process, where it's like you can't absolutely demolish the Fed overnight. You destroy the entire world's economy. But on the other side of it, you'd have a better setup for how you actually have monetary policy, where there's not an enclosed loop and you can inflate things, and like the money just comes back to the politicians, and like we buy your bonds and then you put the money out and then you buy the bonds back and you control the money flow instead of actually controlling inflation, which is absolutely impossible to control anyway. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Mhm. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Well, I think like the natural demand in certain industries would be like, okay, well, you're a higher risk at like industry, you need a lot more money, so of course we're gonna have a higher lending cost instead of having like a federal mandate where here's the Federal Reserve, here's what they say that you can lend money at, here's the figures, here's this, you go off of this, you're allowed this much leeway. That's a broken system. I get why they do it, but like it doesn't really work. Hmm. No. I might have to check that out. I mean, maybe. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I know I'm better with faces than I am with names. So, they're saying I they're saying only me audio. So, I might have to redo the join link. Yep. Here, I will send you a new one, and then we will see. I just sent you that. Sorry about that. Thanks for letting me know, all set. Sometimes Streamlabs is a little bit iffy. Let's give them a second to join back up. No. Let's see. Oh, gotta love when Streamlabs has technical difficulties. Looks like it's taking a second for him. There he is. Let's see. Oh, wrong one. There we go. Give the people a test, LBC, and
Hello, what's going on? How you doing? Thank you for being here. I was just talking about the Federal Reserve and how I think that it'll naturally phase out because of Bitcoin and other things and tokenization of assets. And I think that the tokenization of assets is the future of the medium of exchange and bartering. Probably, maybe. I don't know. We'll just have to see. I don't know what that kind of really looks like or anything like that.
okay. They got your audio this time. I am sorry about that, folks. Streamlabs, it's been
I
giving
guess
people.
this it's like the second time that's happened, BC. So I think what we got to do is just share a new join stream right before the stream. I don't know.
Oh,
Or maybe
probably.
after the stream starts, just send a new one and then I'll just hop in. I don't know. We got to figure out a
Maybe.
fix though.
Yeah, maybe some new software. I've been looking at StreamYard, so they seem to be pretty good.
Maybe.
Yeah, but we were talking a little bit about the Federal Reserve, and that's just one big institution that has had a lot of institutional drift, mainly just on keeping themselves alive. because
Well, that's the yeah. Institutions, they're created to solve a problem, but then they evolve to protect themselves,
mhm.
and that is to the benefit of no one but themselves, really. So yeah, and that's how they end up losing their whole, mandate to help the people.
Oh yeah. Well, so I know we talked a little bit about the Federal Reserve, and that's I think most of the discussion on that one will end up being on episode 9 on how we actually fixed some of the institutional drift. But like there was one that's been in my mind a lot recently, and that's
Mm.
the housing market. And people don't talk enough really about how the housing market is mostly done by your actual governments. You have your zoning laws, which have absolutely destroyed starter homes and things like that. And now we're just blaming, oh, well, we blame other things instead of actually blaming the institution that's supposed to regulate safe housing and things like that. And instead, now they've got lot decrees where it's like, well, if your house is this big, it needs to be on this big of a property, and if we zone out this area, then the housing has to be this size on everything, and these areas are for businesses, and this is for the housing and residential, and it's kind of just ended up destroying more than it's actually helped. So now you have things like HUD that come in there and try to put people in housing, and at the same time, they're just getting they're it's a money wash cycle there, where it's like you get money from the builder, you make sure that the builder's still building these things that your basic person can't get in, and
I think NIMBYs are the real problem.
you want to
Not in
explain
my
that?
backyard. Not in my backyard. Yeah, NIMBYs, man. And that's local residents, though. And I feel like that it's kind of. I mean, you have to really get into like local politics and see how many people are actually voting or on these things and making sure that it's not just like, I don't know, something that the people with power are doing. They're like, oh well, my constituents said they don't want this, and it's like your constituents didn't even vote. What are you talking about? It's like
Your
they
constituents don't even know about this mandate that you just put down.
exactly. Yeah, and it's like you go around the local community interviewing people. So what do you think? Why do you think they're not wanting to build these high-rise apartment buildings or whatever? And it's just like they're wanting to build high-rise apartment buildings. I don't even know about it.
Hmm.
And it's kind of, especially like locally, because that's the thing. And I talk about this all the time. I've talked about it with you. So much focus is on the national level, and not enough is on the local level, where stuff actually impacts you,
Oh
like
yeah.
your day to day.
Well, they can't even regulate housing on a federal level. They regulate certain industries where it's like, here's your loan programs for like first time home buyers. But other than that, the federal government's hands are off the housing industry, and that's all local. And if you want the housing industry to fix, we've got to be in on our local level governments.
So, well, this is the thing, BC, and this is why people want the government to get involved with housing, and it's because builders will just sit on houses because they don't want to build more, because that would make the price of their houses go down that they're wanting people to buy. And it's just kind of, at least that was just something that just popped in my head. I haven't actually gotten too deep into why the housing market is as bad as it is. I just know that there's a supply issue. And the question is, why? Why is there a supply issue? Can you answer that question for me? Because I
I
haven't
mean,
even looked into it.
I mean, okay, it depends on what you mean by supply issue.
Hmm.
Because there is the most houses on the housing market since before the COVID crash right now. It is not a seller's market right now. It's a buyer's market. There's houses all over. Like, so it depends what you mean. It's a whole lot easier to get into a new build though, which is why a lot of these homes that are for sale are staying on the market. That it also depends on where you are. We're blasting out new builds here in Lincoln, Nebraska. We're
Hmm.
blasting out new builds in Omaha, our other big
We are
city.
too.
Yeah. So I mean, it's not really just like a demand issue, it's or a
Supply.
supply issue. It's more of a demand issue on what benefits you get on an institutional level, where it's like, hey, we can give you 2% on a new build for interest. Whereas in if you go buy a used home, here's your 7% interest rate. So yeah, I'm probably gonna look towards a new build, which is why they keep busting these new builds out, but at the same time, they're not making these older homes aren't affordable for someone that's like a starter family.
How do they get away with that?
Uh, what do you mean? How does who get away
Different
with it?
interest rates.
Because of government subsidies, things like that, where it's like there's the set price, but like once you've already purchased an asset, and then I sell you the asset afterwards. There's different structures on finances, on legality, on things like that. Whereas it's like they're able to take a cut on the new build because the new build's already priced outrageously. Whereas in like,
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, have you seen new builds? It's like,
mm-hmm,
man, they're expensive, and then you look at them and you're like, why?
because of a lot of that has to do with local government zoning. So they've
Mm,
put in laws, whereas if you have a quarter-acre lot, you can only put a house that is of this size on it, meaning that we've completely destroyed the starter home, which there's a bunch of starter homes here that are only rentals. It's like a 900 square foot home. You have 2 bedrooms, 1 bath, a tiny ass kitchen. But like for a new couple that just got married, that's a perfect place to start a life.
yeah, I
You
was about to
know,
say, what's wrong with that?
you don't need a whole lot more than that. But any new home, here 3,000 square foot home, that's that like no new family needs that. You know. Oh, thank you, all set. I thought he was saying something about my mic, but he said, "Damn, BC dropping the mic." So yeah, which is it's completely true. The zoning on all of that is what's destroyed the starter home, and that was all in the eyes of protecting us. And instead, now it's an institutional drift of where you can only build a certain size home, which prices people out, which keeps people renting, which has all just been a preservation tactic for builders, for landlords who are already getting massive kickbacks in the system. Because if you provide housing to other people, then you get local financial aid, you get aid from the federal government because you're providing certain housings, and then it keeps only new builds being bigger and bigger because they keep zoning these things this way. So if you want to fix the housing crisis, you only do that at the local level.
Hmm. Okay.
Yeah. And I mean, there are also the massive builders that come in here who have tons of like greased elbows with all these local politicians. It's like if you drive through a new neighborhood, like look at it. Every single house looks exactly the fucking same. And
Hmm.
that's not because we can't build different kinds of houses or anything. It has to do with zoning. And it has to do with how do I make the most houses in the same area, get these up quickly so that people can buy them. I do cookie cutters. There's like 5 different designs in the neighborhood.
Exactly. Yep. Mm-hmm. Yep.
And that's it.
Yeah, I mean, there's one of those neighborhoods, literally not even 5 minutes from me.
No,
Actually, there's a neighborhood right one street over from me, and
I
it
live in
says
one of those neighborhoods.
I actually know the builder because we've been building commercial pools for this builder. And so, and yeah, and like you said, it's cookie cutter houses, man. You drive down the street and it's like every few houses looks the exact same. And it's just like, ugh, like what? That's why I didn't. That's why I'm happy we got the house that we did, because every house in this neighborhood looks different. And I don't know. I just feel like it's probably a better build in general than these ones that get put up quickly. But yeah, uh, and you know, to your point, and I wonder how much of that actually played a role for this situation. But um, we actually saw like a tripling of our water bill. They added a whole bunch to sewage, and apparently it's for one, they built a new water facility. So, of course, you expect some increase in cost on that. But also, apparently, they had like 15 years of construction back pay that the construction company was like, hey, you guys need to pay this. And so so they started hitting the residents
Mm-hmm.
for that stuff. And it's just
Because they're
like,
not going to pay that.
oh, just like right now, it's like, what, you couldn't have been paying them off this whole time?
Mm-hmm.
Now you want to come in here and do it? But we got new politicians, and they're trying to come in and like fix the budget and fix everything, get everything like up to par. And it's just like, well, good, right? But it's like, man, it's going to be short-term pain for a lot of, because like there's people already, like, we've already signed petitions and stuff, because it's just like, man, how are you just going to triple our freaking water bill? Like, it's insane. Where it went from $60 to $160, $180. It's like, that's crazy, man. That's what am I supposed to do with that money?
And see, and that's another,
You're taking money away.
that's another institution that's drifted really hard, especially here in America. You would think with us having the biggest economy, with the strongest ratio, in one of the stronger ratios of dollar per capita, that we would have some of the cleanest water in the world, and we don't. We have for a first world nation one of the worst systems of clean water. And that's
Well,
also
I don't know about places around the U.S. I know that Memphis has actually been known for its water, although I'm not on Memphis water anymore. But even that's been kind of tampered with, because the aquifer, I don't know I don't know what happened, but something happened governmentally. They made some kind of decision, and the aquifers, something. I don't know. I haven't looked into it. I'm not real deep into Memphis politics because I don't live in the city. So, but I mean, we used to literally be known for our water, because we have like this, basically like a natural reservoir, like a mile or something, or several hundred feet, whatever it is, under the city, and it's like all like clay and stuff like that, so it like kind of naturally filters the water and stuff.
hmm
And like, we've always had great water, but like in the last like 5-10 years or so, you can see the difference. And it's
oh,
something happened with the aquifer. I'm not sure. I can't remember what it was. I'd have to look into it, but it is
so
what it is.
some of that has to do with piping, and
With
like
what?
just but piping, like the
Piping.
actual
Oh,
pipes that they use to move water around. That's like the biggest problem here in the United States of why we have dirty water.
yeah, they've been replacing all the lead pipes.
hmm there's still giant portions of America that still have like lead piping to deliver the water.
That's
It's
crazy.
like, yeah, and it's just like you wouldn't think as a first world country, but like it's like what I said with Allset, what he was talking about in there, and it's like he has cheap water, and it's like there's a standard that is set by the federal government of you just have to not kill people with the water, and as long as you don't kill people with the water, you've met the standards. Whereas like
Anybody
that,
remember this? Anybody remember this? The water in Flint is great. Look, I'm gonna try it out. Oh, good.
oh,
Who's that?
or-
Name that
uh,
president.
uh, what was that? Was that Trump?
No,
Was it Biden?
that was Barack Obama.
Oh,
That's how
oh.
long Flint has been
Yep.
going on.
Well, I mean,
I
that's
think
like
they
you
just got it fixed fairly
part of it.
recently. But
Part of it.
mm,
But like I remember seeing in like local areas because most of this is local problems, and that's why we talk
mhm.
so much about the local government being so important. Where it's like it was a city council meeting, and the guy goes in there and he was told that the water was okay to drink, and he brought in a cup and he set out 5 glasses. It was like a giant like a big 66-ounce cup that he had filled with the water, and he poured it into all 5 of the glasses. And he's like, "Okay, well, here you guys go. This is the clean drinking water you told me that we have. So I want all of you to drink this." And they all refused. And this is
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah,
this is like that drift that we see where it's like all you were supposed to do was supply clean water. But like you're so worried about making sure that you still get the money for the system that you've set up. Oh, your video
I'm still here.
dropped. Okay. I was like, your
Can you hear me?
video dropped. Yep, I can hear
I'm just
you.
doing something real quick.
Okay. But
Sorry, I'm trying to get another screen up because I wanted to share this real quick. So continue
okay.
on.
They're so set up on making sure that they get the money and not actually provide any kind of change in there. Because like we've seen a lot of change in what you can actually do to provide decent water quality, but none of those are federal mandates, so they don't have to meet them. Like reverse osmosis. Once you set it up, it's extremely cheap to maintain the systems. It's not like a thing that's really worth them doing because the standards aren't that high. And all the standard that they have to meet is just I don't kill people with the water I provide them. And so they're so worried on making sure that their system stays afloat that they don't try to innovate at all. And that's a problem we see across the board with a lot of these institutions.
Can you see
Oh,
this?
yeah. I was about to say, were you going to show the clean drinking water thing?
Yeah. Let me see if you can hear it too. It'll be interesting because maybe we can start doing some videos.
Oh, we
Can
can't
you hear
hear
it?
it. We can't hear it, but
No?
no.
That's weird. Dang. I just thought it was funny, but maybe we'll get that figured out one day. I wonder if we can do that with StreamYard.
Yeah, we could actually. So I'll actually look into getting StreamYard this week, and then maybe we'll start doing things on there because they've got a very clean system. I've been a big fan of it.
Cool. Cool. All right, what's next?
Um,
We talked about housing, money, or water.
water. I mean, the utilities in general is just kind of set up that way. Well, it's not just water. You know, electricity is that other big utility, and like they've got these. They're more regionalized monopolies, but like you're only supposed to meet a certain standard, which is why you also
Mhm.
see places like California having rolling blackouts. Texas, until more recently, having rolling blackouts and rolling brownouts and things like that during high stress times. Where it's like they haven't been incentivized to make any kind of new system, so they're not going to make a new system. They're already
Mhm.
getting your money. Where the fuck else are you gonna go, bro? Like, who else are you gonna buy the electricity from? Yeah.
Yeah, and the thing is, and I'm glad we're touching on this, housing, water, electricity, utilities and all that stuff, because this shows that this isn't a left versus right issue,
Mm-mm.
right? This affects everyone. And I've seen people on both sides talking about it, but some others, I mean, well, so like every ideology captures institutions when it gains long-term control of them, and power always justifies itself as necessary. So uh, capture survives by reframing criticism as like anti-science, anti-democracy, anti-stability, and
Anti anti
anti-progress
and anti society in
and
general.
anti-society. Yeah. And so, So this is about power versus the people, and that's kind of the whole point. It's like we got to get the power back to the people,
Mm-hmm.
and because we've brought it up before. It's just like whole revolving door thing, and they get the experts to come in, and their experts, their friend who helped regulate them or something. It's like oh yeah. Let me just bring in the people. Let me just bring in the guy that used to regulate us. Oh, that guy that was real lenient on us when he was regulating people. Yeah, let me hire that guy on. Yeah, there's no conflict of interest there whatsoever.
Oh no, I don't,
So
not
my
at all.
arguments are just not on point today.
Well, that's also really big. We talked about housing. That's also really big in the housing industry. It's like you'll see a lot of these, like a landlord. You see it more in localized areas. Like there's a guy who has YouTubes who literally just goes and confronts councilmen that have like really big ins with like the people that they're supposed to be regulating in those areas, where it's like people complain they can't live in an area because there's black mold in there and things like that, but like they're not penalized or anything like that because surprise surprise, this dude's friends with the people that also owned this giant entity that has all of the apartments in this area. He's also
Hmm.
like he's on the board of them, and it's like, of course you're not going to regulate that. You're just provide the housing. There's houses there. You can rent it. Like that's all we were mandated to do. Like,
And or they skip out on code or
mm-hmm.
whatever it is, and it's just like turn a blind eye, just cut corners, and it's just like, all right, this is what we're doing. But I mean, local code, I guess, is okay. I mean, it's I don't really mind it. Some of it seems a little stupid to me, especially considering some of the stuff that I've had to deal with when it comes to codes. Just
Mm-hmm.
like you, this this thing has to be this tall, and it's just like, but why?
Yeah.
It's not a
No.
hazard.
No.
Like it's not doing anything. But I don't understand. Like
Money.
it's just money. Yeah, it's just so
Yep.
that they can say, you didn't do this, so we're gonna fine you. It's
Yep.
just like, okay. Like a local suburb around here is called Collierville, and it is known for its strict coding. It's where it's where most of the wealthy people live. Um, but I mean, it's a great city. That's the thing. Like, it's nice, it's clean, um, almost no crime. Like,
Mm.
it's great. But at the same time, it's like, well, I see some of it's a pain in the butt, especially as
Sure.
a someone in construction or anybody trying to do like business. It's just kind of like, hey, because they're just strict with stuff. But they
But I'd,
but look, no crime,
I'd say
property
that's
is
kind of a good
in high
thing.
demand. Yeah, I mean,
But also,
they like we say, locally, there's really no problem with do whatever. It's the national that we really have an issue with, the federal.
oh yeah. Well, like, and that's why, like, we've talked about housing several times. We'll do a whole episode on the housing market and get a little more in depth on that one. But it's like it's impossible here to make low cost housing. They've absolutely destroyed it on a zoning level. So like, it was a political win for the Democrats here to come in
Mm.
and be like, we're going to build low cost affordable housing here. And they've only built one place. They built one place because they literally can't do it. They're like, yeah, we're going to make this a key issue here so that we have more affordable housing, but they legally can't even do it because they've regulated it out of their system.
How's that even work?
Zoning. It's all zoning. So
But
like
don't they do the zoning?
we're
Like,
gonna promise you something that we know we can't even deliver on because we've made it illegal to do so.
mm,
They only allow big houses to be built here. Like the ratios are so screwy. So you can have a small lot, but like the house has to take up a certain area of the lottage. And the area that it has to take up is so big. So mostly what you see here is big houses on tiny lots with no yards.
So what? How do I see it? Like I literally have never looked into it before. So I assume a construction company wants or a housing company wants to like build a neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
So they got to go to the local government in order to get the permits to do so.
Yes.
And they buy the land from, I guess, if depending on if it's private or public uh, owned.
Most of the time, so how it's done here is we've basically on the outskirts of town, they're buying farmland from people. So it's a developer that comes in, buys the farmland, subsections it out into like little lots. And I know this because like what I do is I move dirt. We move the dirt for all of these developers that come in. And like we get to see beforehand like what the neighborhood's going to look like, what the size of like all these lots are, and they're splitting it out into tiny lots, but like these tiny lots have massive houses on them, and these are the regulations that are set upon them as the housing standards that have to be met, the building codes that have to be met, and all of this was in the name to protect us, but like the only person that's getting money is the builder and the people regulating them, and then the banks, because
And then the banks.
of course that's the big person that's actually in there, and like that's a big part of it, and
Mm-hmm.
that's kind of a little bit of corruption, but like it was corruption done specifically in the name of protecting us from bad housing. Whereas in like we could have third party entities all over the United States that come in and like do testing on houses, and like you would know like this house is built, these houses by this company are the best built in your area. So you would probably lean towards buying those houses. And if we had third party regulators like that, whose only job was to get paid by the person that was going to buy the house to make sure that they have the most safe house there, instead of just, oh, well, we just didn't break this code. Whereas, like, hey, we actually know that your house will withstand an earthquake. That's not a fucking building code, but that would be really helpful in California. But the government's never going to regulate that in, and that's all an institutional thing. Or
Yep. Uh,
yeah,
I
it's
don't
like
know.
there's not a whole lot. Like it that's more on like the fixing end of things, But it's like
Yeah.
it's small. We see this all over the place in these small little industries. I beat up the housing market, but like the housing market is one thing that I feel extremely strong about, because there's a lot of people my age who probably won't be able to buy a home until they're 40. And because that's like the average age of a new home buyer. And like, why? Why the fuck is that a thing?
Another thing that's got this institutional capture is the media.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they. It depends on more so these days. It depends on like access instead of accuracy,
Oh yeah.
and it's just like I don't know. Have you heard about these? Have you heard about this flooding going on in the Northwest?
No.
Exactly.
Dude.
3 states are underwater, bro, and nobody's talking about it. Washington, Oregon, and Montana. They've seen massive flooding. I just watched, my friend sent me the video, and he's like, "Why is no one talking about this?" Literally, houses just floating down, like whole cities just flooded. Little small islands being shut off because the bridges collapsed. Nobody's talking about it. Why? Why is nobody talking about it? Apparently, the government said it was a national emergency, but we haven't heard anything really else about it. So
Yeah, I
what's
really.
going on here?
there's not a whole lot of money that can be made off of that on like the news side, you know.
That's
That's
the
like a one.
problem.
It's a one issue story where it's like, oh well, this happened, so
But
here's
they
the
do it for
other
like
thing.
every other disaster.
Nah,
What's going on with this one?
I don't know. Maybe they
Is it
don't
because
want
it's
you to look too
climate
hard
related?
into it. They don't want you to look too hard into it, LBC. You
Was
know,
it
if you
HARP?
you start asking too many questions, then you start sounding like a conspiracy theorist.
I'm just asking questions, bro.
Yeah. Well, and that's what that that's a big part of what like news and media was supposed to do. They were
And that's the thing.
supposed to
It's like
be
these.
the arm for the everyday citizen that can't get in there and be like, "Well, what is this breaking story? Why is this happening? What are you going to do about it as the power system in this area?" And instead, now they're regulated by the institutions that they're trying to regulate. So now they got to play buddy buddy with them, and they also got to play buddy buddy with the advertisers, and they can't use freedom of speech because it doesn't matter if you're left or right. Like, if you say something that offends me, well, you probably shouldn't be on the air. Like, that's fucked
Mhm.
up. And
So yeah, that's one of my biggest pain points with this current admin is just like the whole press pool. They've basically kicked out anybody that ask any kind of tough questions, and you're just fake news. It's just like,
mm,
okay. Um, and I mean, previous administrations, they'll do the same thing, similar,
mm-hmm.
except they'll at least let them in.
Yeah,
But
but they won't take any questions from them.
yeah, there's that. So it's just like, all right, this is what we're doing.
Mm-hmm.
But and also, there's a lot of people or a lot of journalists or whatever, they'll be like, I want to get in on this story. And then, the person that they're wanting to interview or whatever it is like, that's fine. You can have access, but uh, you're not allowed to do, say, X, Y, and Z or talk about X, Y, and Z. Like, just not doing it. You want the interview? We don't talk about that. And it's just like, well, that's not how we do things, bro. It's like,
Nope.
you got to be able to answer the hard hitting questions.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Listen,
and the thing
that's not
about Trump is that
clip-worthy.
he'll whether he's telling the truth or not, he'll just go out there and he'll talk to anybody. He doesn't
Mhm.
care.
Oh, well,
He'll
like
he'll know he's
sometimes
BSing and just doesn't care.
I was about to say sometimes he prefers to go to the reporter that like hates his guts because he
Mhm.
gets a clip out of it, you know?
Yeah.
It's like this interview is over and walks off. And I'm like,
Mhm.
what was this, bro? And it's like, oh well, you gave Biden softball questions. Where's my softballs? I sit down and you're like, oh, are you ready for the hard hitting questions? Like, isn't that what we're supposed to do here? But no.
And Trump's just like, you're fake news, Miss Piggy or whatever the fuck.
I mean, to be fair,
Quiet Piggy.
most of it all is just fake news. And that one, we
Mhm.
can definitely say the media has been more captured by political leanings than anything
Mm.
else. The political leanings of the companies that pay the advertising dollars, the political leanings
Mhm.
of the people that are actually in charge of the institutions, and instead of it being like, hey, this is just what's going on, we thought you should know. If you're not scared and you're not angry, then they can't sell anything.
Mhm. You mean like how Jeff Bezos was a Hillary Clinton supporter and how and owned the Washington Post, owns the Washington Post, and put out 19 or published 19 articles against Bernie Sanders within a 24-hour period.
Mm-hmm.
What is that? What are we doing here?
Oh,
What kind
yeah.
of that sounds kind of shady to me. You don't want to talk about Clinton and her shady past? What's going on?
which is wild
Uh,
because it's like of all the, but like I'm not necessarily a fan of Bernie's politics all the time, but it's like if you look at that man's record, the amount of money that he's taken from people that want to sway him in one position or another is zero.
I mean, I don't agree with the guy at all on most things, but that's what. If I could have more people like that, that would be fantastic. As far as not taking money from people, he's literally like he's been the poorest or like second poorest senator like his entire career. Like he makes less money than everybody else because they have all got some kind of thing, you know, and and that's how he's able to push his message, right? But yeah, second he starts taking in money, his whole
Rear is done.
yeah, his whole thing's done. So, but um, yeah, and it's unfortunate that it has to be a progressive that's doing that. Like can we get some libertarians or something that don't take money? You know, that'd be nice.
Well, I mean, you as a libertarian, they almost have to take money to even get their message out there because their party is like so minuscule. If you wanted a
Well,
congressional seat, you're gonna need something to actually compete against like the amount of money that is being spent by the Republican candidate or the Democratic candidate.
yeah, I guess I don't know.
It sucks,
I
but
don't
like
know.
we talked about that one a lot on the last one, where it's like
Hmm.
it sucks, but like that's a system that doesn't need to be like that.
What was the article I sent you? That kind of
Oh
we were
yeah.
gonna bring that up.
Well, and so like we had brought up the fact of like, campaign finance laws are extremely lax and you don't really have to disclose who you got money from. You can have giant entities that just don't disclose who they are, who they're made up of, the individuals, the companies, all of that. And they're just able to allow you to just give you a bunch of money and they're very lax on how you're allowed to spend it. And instead of being like, hey, you know what? Let's fix this problem. LBC sent me an article. I was talking about how the Supreme Court thinks that campaign finance laws are too restrictive and that they should go the opposite way and be less restrictive on campaign
Well,
finance laws.
to be clear, the Supreme Court is weighing further loosening campaign finance limits because Republican leaders are asking the High Court to remove limits on how much parties can spend in coordination with federal candidates on items like advertisements. It's like, why? Why are y'all doing this? I don't get it. Of course, the Republicans were the ones that were the first ones to talk about corporations have free speech or something
Which is
because they wanted
BS.
corporations to be able to donate or something.
Which is
Um,
BS.
yeah,
Like
it's like, why y'all doing this, bro? Like, what are we doing here? That's why I don't like Republicans and I don't like Democrats because they're just two birds of the same feather or
what
whatever.
it's like so what it
Two sides of the
really
same coin.
what it really shows is like horseshoe theory, which horseshoe theory really really is extremely accurate.
Hmm.
The thickest part of your horseshoe is the middle part of the horseshoe, which normally hits the ground the most. And then you have your two
Hmm.
wings of the horseshoe, the parts that curve down, and they're almost right there beside each other and connect. And like they
Hmm.
have a nice little thick area at the bottom. Well, the thick area at the bottom is the super left and the super right. Like and those two things are almost identical in the ways that they perform. They just have a slightly different thought process on it. But like they're the exact same thing.
100%, bro. Like it's kind of crazy. Like I was talking to this guy yesterday, and he's like he says he's former left wing, but kind of right wing nowadays, or something like that. But it's like he's like pro. He's a Texan. He's pro labor, pro worker, pro union, and I'm just like pro labor, pro union in Texas. He's like, yeah, yeah. I mean that's how we are. But like he's like a Trump supporter. I'm just
Hmm.
like, what? We're all over the place, man. It's just kind of like, what's going on here? I mean, everybody's all over I mean, if you've ever actually sat down and actually like thought about these things, there's no way you can be hardline one way or another. I just don't see it. I just don't see how. There's so many different issues that it's just like, I don't know. I feel like I'm a little more nuanced than you
Oh
can't
yeah.
put me in a box,
No.
basically. You can't just say, oh, because you agree that I don't know, because you agree that taxes need to be cut, that you think that uh, we
That's
need
sick. Yeah.
mass deportation or something or
Or that
whatever it is.
or
Or
that we shouldn't have like the food stamp program, and you think that like struggling people deserve to go hungry because they can't make enough money. Like what the like bro. Like and I've talked about it a lot. Like it is a distribution graph. Like there is no left or right or up or down specifically. Like there's a distribution graph on the thought process of how you fix issues. But instead
Mhm.
of being like, hey, we want to fix the issue, it's like, you don't want to fix the issue my way, so go fuck yourself. And it's like, whoa, bro, can we at least figure out how we feed these people and get them in affordable
Mhm.
housing and have clean water and electricity that's affordable with like super fast internet and clean food that's not poisonous to their body and causes them to be obese? Like what we all want like it's that sounds pretty close to what everyone would like here in America. Yeah, there's probably going to be some other things on top of it, but at the end of the day, we could probably all agree that we should probably have something closer to what I just described.
Mhm. I saw this post earlier today, this morning, and it was this. I guess I'll just call him a MAGA influencer. Um, and he was talking about he was asking for donations for something because he said he got hit with a bill from construction or something that he wasn't expecting, so he was just looking for help, whatever. And then this other guy commented, who's pretty much his whole thing online is just talking smack to the MAGA folks. And he's just talking about this is quite ironic coming from someone that talks about handouts and picking yourself up by your bootstraps and stuff all these years, and now you're asking for a handout and all this stuff, and and then I read on the comments and everybody's like, "Oh, now he's in favor of socialism and all this stuff and blah blah blah," and I'm sitting here like, when did voluntary donations become socialism? I think that's the whole point, is that this isn't a handout in the sense where it's stealing from others to give to someone, to others. You know, that's the difference, right?
Well, it's like
It's
we've
like,
talked about before. It's the hand that's reached out so that you can grab it and pull yourself back up. And
mhm,
that instead of it being like, well, here we're gonna take this from you and we're just gonna have it out there so that this and this and this and this and this can get it. And that's the difference. There's
do you think
that
Trump will actually eliminate income taxes?
it'd be so nice, but like that that it would screw everything up.
What do you mean? I
Uh,
know revenue would drop like a
hmm But like the biggest issue would be that the government would fail to exist very very quickly. So it's like you have no money that you're bringing in. So how are you going to spend any of this money? Which honestly I wouldn't complain with, because it's like if afterwards we have to cut most of the federal government and there's just not all of this stuff here, then yeah, we could spend this money locally and have the fight of like what states are going to be really really good at things and what states are going to provide the best care to their citizens and all of these things that like should have been at the state level anyway. If that's the goal of it, sure. But if the goal is just to like you vote red at the midterms and this is what you're going to get, and then we're just going to raise the debt by $40 trillion because we brought in no money, I'm like, nah, that's a little less okay.
Well, I mean, I assume the argument is we'll grow it. We'll grow past it because people will be able to keep their money,
Mm-hmm.
and that'll increase demand. Increasing demand means they got to make more stuff. In order to make more stuff, you got to hire more people. When you hire more people have money to spend, and then the cycle continues. So I think that's I mean, I like it, but then again, like you said, I mean, you just cut it off completely. Like, we could
Mm-hmm.
do some tax cuts for sure.
Yeah.
I don't know about just cutting it off completely, at least not like in one fell swoop. Like, it can't, I don't think it could be that.
No.
Um, I think you have to have the economy already growing and expanding before you start doing that. And that's the deal. That's my idea for a lot of stuff. It's like, man, couldn't we have done these tariffs in an expansionary period or any other kind of stuff that we want to do during an expansionary period instead of when the market's contracting?
Yeah, but the thing is, unless we do these things, there's not going to be an expansionary period because if you look at the graph, the S&P 500 and the Dow Jones and the Russell 2000 all diverged from your job numbers in 2022 at the creation of public AI. And since then, it's been a K theory that's just widening like crazy. So if you don't
I don't
even
think
you need some sort of kind of jobs that come back. And it's going to
I
be
don't think AI is
painful.
actually taking a lot of jobs currently.
I'm not saying that it
I
is.
I think a lot of businesses are saying that because they are invested in AI
Mhm.
and they don't want to spook the market by saying we're laying people off not because of AI, but because margins are getting kind of thin. But we're going to say it's AI, and because that helps us look more forward looking and looks like we're just going to grow and be more productive. So
See,
buy our stock.
I'm not saying it's legitimately AI taking a lot of these jobs right now. What I am saying is that okay, we're instead of having these 600,000 people that are working at Amazon, we're going to take those salaries instead and have that invested in AI because in 2 years we're not going to need but we're not going to need a majority of these people anyway. So we can operate at slimmer margins and it be a little rougher. We're still going to get the money anyway and we're going to keep investing in AI. That's
Mm.
what I mean by these job losses or AI. It's the same way that all of these companies are invested in AI because it's not what AI is right now. It's what AI is going to be in 3 years. If I don't need Shannon as my secretary in 3 years, I might do away with Shannon now, invest all that money in AI, take up a little more work on my end, use the AI features that I have now to ease off some of that because the AI agent can already answer my emails with ChatGPT. So like, okay, well, I'll just have it do that, make sure that it's not making some mistakes. You work a little bit more, but save more money
Mm.
because the AI
That's a
was
really good
cheaper than
argument.
that anyway.
It's a really good argument, bro.
Yeah, that's what I mean by the job losses or AI. It might not be directly the AI is doing that job right now, but like it is picking up some of the slack of those people that went away. Someone's doing a little more work, but in the long run, it's cheaper on the corporate books anyway.
But we're also talking about jobs that can be automated.
Hmm. Which is why we're trying to get back a lot of jobs that can't be automated.
Yet.
Yeah, I mean, it's all a time horizon thing. It's
Hmm.
like there's gonna be a lot of jobs that slowly are going to drift away, but in the meantime, we need to make as much money as we can and have the system set up in place so that we can actually sell these goods out so that when no one most people don't have a job, we have the systems in place where you're taking our goods from us, and we can make sure that all these Americans are being fed and housed and clothed and have water and have electricity and have internet and have food. But if you don't have all those things here to do, then you can't be like, well, we have all of this shit, bro. You need lithium. Well, we have the lithium. We have the lithium mines. We have the lithium refineries. We have all of this. We have all of that. What we need is your cadmium, but if we don't have anything to actually trade with you across the board, which is how things are going to end up being, is a barter system, again, but on a mass scale, because no one's going to have money, because no one's working, because no one's paying anything, because no one has jobs. That's the end. So, like, we need that stuff back because we need those systems in place.
Mm. The fastest way to capture an institution is to control who gets promoted. Yeah. So, a slow motion process. This is what this is how capture happens from the inside. Step 1, specialist replace generalist. Step 2, language becomes technical and exclusionary. Step 3, gatekeepers decide what's serious or acceptable. Step 4, dissenters are labeled irresponsible, extreme, or unqualified. So you don't need secret meetings. You just need hiring pipelines, credential inflation, and promotion based on conformity. And, that's something, I work for a small business, right? But I don't know if I should say this publicly. I don't know if he watches. Recently, my boss got into this little group of other business owners, and they take a lot of like corporate stuff, and just from reading that stuff off just kind of reminded me on some things that's been going down lately at my job, and it's kind of like whole definite like conformity thing is definitely something that's been going on lately. It's kind of just like we've been here for a few years or for many years. Something's changed since you joined this group. Like it's kind of weird.
Mm-hmm.
And like he did it because he wants to make the company grow. So he's networking, you're getting with people, but he's also taken in some of their advice and has implemented certain things that really are just kind of just like, what are we doing here? Like I don't get this. Well, just do it. Okay. I mean, if I want to keep my job, I have to. And having that thought process is what goes on in these institutions.
Mm-hmm.
If I want to keep my job, I got to do this. If I want to keep food on the table, I gotta pass this regulation, whatever it is. It's just it's not good. And it's just and you have the people that have the seniors that have been there for forever. It's like this is just how it is. This is how it is.
Yep.
There's nothing to change. Look, we keep growing. Or we keep doing a good job, or they give them there's the whole like self awarding, for lack of I can't think of self congratulations, they congratulate each other within the business. It's like we're amazing, or within the institution. And what I'm getting at is like, well, look at these numbers. This is what we were able to do this year. And then you're like, but don't look at these numbers.
Yeah.
Or don't look at this data,
Well, and that's a big part of how institutions act as well. Where it's like originally that an institution is put in place, there's a problem to solve. They solve the problem, so they have a lot of backing and faith, and like it's justified to kind of grow it a little bit. So now they got to expand it, and the budget grows, and the staff grows, and their influence grows. But then it ends up being like that now we have to get the funding, and now we have to make sure that we look good, and now we kind of have to align ourselves with this or that so that we can continue to grow and be a productive thing. To just make sure that some of these numbers look good. Internal, like the internal metrics matter more than the actual impact that you're making. And then that's when things really, really go downhill. Because, external influences don't really impact thing as much. There's that revolving door we've talked about a whole bunch. Then you end up serving the people that are giving you the money over the actual product or service or whatever it was that you were supposed to be doing to begin with that made you successful in the first place. And then you just a thing that exists and can't go away because you've been around since 1933. Like
Too
that's
big to fail.
mm-hmm.
Well,
Nothing.
I mean, yeah, nothing's too big to fail. I'll finish that for you. And that really only pertains to banks. Everything else can really just kind of fail. I mean, I'm not saying the banks can't or shouldn't. I'm just saying that like other stuff can fail and things will just kind of be, oh, okay, that failed, But
Mm-hmm.
if the banks fail, that's kind of we're looking at a wild situation, right? Like, or if like the military failed or something somehow, we're looking at crisis level stuff. But if if the Department of Education failed, like, would society just collapse? Probably not. Like,
Mm-hmm.
it'd probably be fine. We'd figure something out.
Something would come along and replace it, and if it
Mhm,
wanted to grow, it would actually have to do something that was right. But like
mhm.
that next part though really comes in on the next episode where it's like how do we make it where there's the incentives or not that you drift towards making sure that you're getting the capital to keep afloat so that everyone gets these jobs because you're supposed to be a government institution that just provides a service. You're supposed to make sure that we have clean water and healthy food and that our children are educated and safe and that the streets aren't littered with criminals and things like that. And like even the jails have and prison systems have an institutional drift and the capture is insane. And it's like every
You know
part
what the
of our
problem is?
what
Oh, I should save that for next week.
probably. Well, it's like every single part of our daily lives have seemed to be captured by some sort of federal touch on our daily lives.
Mhm.
And it's just like it's getting insane. And it needs to go in a different direction. Otherwise, all of this is going to be a moot point and moot conversation anyway.
Yeah, I agree. That was a nice segue. Tune in next
Well,
week when I actually, because I'm much better at solutions, I guess. I don't
all
know.
right. Well, and see, like I felt like we really had to have the conversation of like what is the institutional drift that we've noticed? What are the segments that are really like screwing us up? And like what is like the setup that we want to go into to fix these things that we've like really talked about? Because
Yeah.
if we don't talk about how we get to the point where all these institutions aren't representing us, then we can't even get to the point of having the discussion of how we reverse that process.
Yep.
So it was a longer-winded one, an hour and 15 minutes, but I had a lot of fun with it. We dove down a bunch of rabbit holes.
A few.
Oh,
Yeah, it was
yeah.
fun. I'm a little off today, I guess. I guess I didn't sleep well, but
Oh,
that's okay.
get some good rest this next week, And
I was literally yawning during the stream, so I might go take a nap after this. Might eat some lunch and go take a nap because I still have a stream tonight to do. So
I feel that one. It's about lunchtime for me as well. I woke up kind of late, so
there we go. Maybe that's what it is. I'm not fed.
oh, we got a
The
hangry.
brain's not going.
We got a underfed LBC here. So next week, join
Oh,
us for a
yeah.
better fed LBC, and we will discuss how to fix these problems.
I'll be sure to do that.
All right.
I'll be
you got-
sure to eat before the stream.
I normally do that. Make sure I eat before the stream, so I'm not hangry, because some of these topics already got me a little angry.
It's not just anger. It's just my brain needs fuel. 'Cause right now, it's running on is caffeine.
Well, hey, that's we all do it sometimes. But you got anything you want to leave the people with?
Fight the system. Don't get captured.
I like it.
I love you. And thank you for joining us this weekend. And I look forward to next week with for another episode of Count of This with my good friend BC Portcorp. And yeah, I will see you guys then, and I will see you this evening over on my channel, Leonard Beaches Crypto. Like and subscribe. Yeah, that's it. Mad love. Thanks, BC.
Thanks for joining us this week. I will be live tomorrow morning, bright and early, on Piper Academy as we try to make some money. Until next time, though, stay safe and enjoy the rest of your weekend. Later.
Counter this, counter that. Freedom's more than tit for tat. Words can build or words can break. Speak the truth for all our sake. A hand that feeds can also bind, but peace can free a restless mind. Fix the cracks, don't paint them bright. The world's not whole without the fight. So rise and speak, don't just comply. Change the script, don't live the lie. Counter this, counter that.